Hi everyone, it's Jasmine with Jazzy Crafts and Cards. Let me show you what I'm making today. What I've got here is a card front that I've made completely out of washi tape. All of this background is washi tape, and then I've just got a sentiment on the top with a cute little bow. Okay, so here's what we're going to need. We'll start from left to right today. So I've got a pre-stamped sentiment that says good luck, and it is from this stamp set. And you know, I got the stamp set before I started keeping the packaging, so I don't know who this stamp is by, but this is the stamp set I'm using. Then I've got just some ribbon here. I've got some thin green and gold ribbon that I made a bow out of ahead of time, and I just made that using a bow maker. If you'd like to see me use this bow maker, I will do a demo of it in another video. Okay, up here at the top I've got a hot glue gun heating up, and I've got my washi tapes that I'm going to use for this card. I'm going with a green and gold theme. Since I've got the good luck sentiment and St. Patrick's Day is coming up, I thought that would be cute. So I've got 2 patterned washi tapes and 2 solid glitter washi tapes. These are all from eBay. Okay, then I'll be using a craft knife and some scissors. My card base, which is just a regular A2 size card base, 5.5 by 4 1/4, and a card front, which I've cut to 5 3/8 by 4 1/8, and that will layer nicely on top. Then I will be using a True Black Spectrum Noir marker, and I'll show you what that's for in just a little bit. A cutting mat, and then I've just got a ruler. This is the ruler for my fuse tool. It can be just any ruler though. Okay, so let's zoom in and get to work. To start with, all you're going to need is that card front that I said is cut to 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. A pencil, which is of course the thing I left out when I said what you need, so you will need a pencil. You'll need your craft knife, your cutting mat, and your ruler to start with, and then also your washi tape. Okay, so starting with this piece of cardstock and my ruler, I'm going to create an X on this piece of cardstock from each corner. Okay, just creating an X with my pencil line. And don't worry, you could use pen, whatever you have, because we're going to cover this up, so you don't have to worry about that. So I'm just going to draw a pencil line from one corner to the other, and then do the same thing on the other corner. See, there we go. Okay, one more. Okay, so that's what we've got. Just an X right in the middle of the page. Alright, we are done with the ruler now, so we can set that to the side, and we're done with the pencil. Now all we need in front of us is the cardstock, our cutting mat, our knife, and then our 4 washis. I want to also mention that you can do this with fewer colors of washi tape if you would like. On this card you can see I did do the 4 different colors here. And here's another I've made with 4 different colors that is just not finished yet, it's just plain. But on this, I had various different gold metallic washi tapes, and so I just used the 3 that I had. I had a polka dotted one, a diagonal striped one, and then a straight striped one. And so with just 3, what I chose to do was make every other stripe the dots. I really liked the dots, and so I made that occur more frequently in my pattern. So that's how you can do it with 3. Okay. So to begin, obviously select the washi tapes that you want for the theme that you were going for. Like I said, I picked gold and green because I'm kind of going with a luck theme, and St. Patrick's Day is coming up. So then you kind of need to just determine which order you want to put the tapes on. And what I think I'm going to do is separate my patterned washis. So I'm going to do the golds together and then the greens together. like this, so that my patterned washis aren't going to be touching in the pattern. So I'm just going to start with my gold patterned washi, and I'm going to choose one of the lines that I've drawn on. Maybe I should, I don't know, can you guys still see those lines? Okay, I'm going to choose one of these lines here that I've got, and I'm going to line my washi tape up along one of those pencil lines. So once I get this on here, I'll bring it up so you can see better. Okay, once it's taped on there, I'm going to just cut it off on the edge of the card here. So here's what we've got. So as I go, it's going along this pencil line here that you can't really see anymore because it's right along that tape. It's crossing over this line here, which is fine because I'm going to cut that off after we've got them all down. Okay, so the next one I'm going to lay down is going to go right here, and I'm going to keep going like this until I get to the corner of this card, and then I'm going to start on another section. So we're just going to go kind of section by section. Okay, so we've got that first piece of gold down. Now the next one I wanted to do was the solid gold glitter washi. So we're going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to start right next to that piece that we already had, and I'm going to go ahead and cross over that other line because, like I said, we'll cut that away. It won't be a problem. Okay, I wonder if I can zoom us in a little more so you can see a little better. Whoops. Okay, let's try it right there. I think you can see better there. Okay, so then I'm going to cut that second piece away and just keep my tapes ready because my next one is going to be the patterned green, and I'm going to, this one's kind of cut, so I'm going to lay it across there a little further so I don't get that messed up part showing. Okay, lay that down and cut it off, and then my green glitter. And once again, same thing. And if you stick it down and you see a white gap between your two strips of washi, go ahead and peel it back up and just reposition it. Okay. So now I've done one strip of all 4 of my washis, and I'm just going to repeat in that same pattern. So I'm going to go back to my gold patterned washi. Lay the next strip of that. And then my gold solid washi. And this will finish up this side of the card. Okay. So now, because we've got all this extra washi on this side that we need to cut off, you have 2 options. I'll show you the first option on this section, and then on the next section I'll show you your other option. You can bring your ruler back in and line it up against that line to the corner of your card, and then just take your craft knife and very carefully, gently kind of pushing, because you're just trying to cut through the washi, not through the paper. You're going to follow that line down, and then you're going to go in and peel up that extra washi. And what you'll see right here, once I get these off, you'll see why this method isn't my favorite. And if it tears your cardstock a little bit underneath, don't worry about it because you're not going to see it. It's going to be covered up eventually. Okay. So, this is why this is not my favorite method, because if you can tell, I've got some pencil lines showing now, right here, where I didn't quite cut it right on my pencil line. That's going to be fine. I'm still going to be able to cover that up, but you can get it off so much that it's really not possible to cover back up. So, that's why that method isn't my favorite, but it does work, and it will do the whole thing at one time, okay? I will show you the other method when I do this next section. Okay, so now I just kind of turn the paper, and I'm going to leave where it's glued onto my, or taped onto my cutting mat right here. I'm going to leave that for right now because it kind of holds my paper in place. So I'm just going to leave that and move on to the next section. Okay, now on this section that we already did, my longest piece was that gold patterned. So on this one, I'm going to move to the next color in my pattern, which is my solid gold glitter. And that's the piece I'm going to start with. So I'm going to do the exact same thing we just did. And I'm going to line it up against where those other washies ended. So this is where I can kind of cover up that little cutting mistake I made just a minute ago. Okay, and then I'm going to cut this off. And then, again, just follow that pattern around. So green patterned is next. And green solid. Oh, I said I was going to show you my other method. So the other method is to cut this off as you go. So I stuck that green one down, but if I kind of pull it up, you can see. Okay. So what I do for the other method of cutting this excess off here is I just tape one piece of washi down, and then I can follow and cut right along that pencil line and then peel that excess up as I go. So it kind of messes up the flow of just putting the washi down, but I think you get nicer cuts. So I can lay it down and then just cut that washi following the line and peel it up. Okay, so then I would go to my next color. Lay it down, cut it off with a roll first, and then cut this line here. The reason this is easier is because, first of all, you're not having to cut a long straight line, and second of all, you can see where the other one was cut and then where you're going to at the edge of that pencil line. Okay, now we're going to go to the gold patterned. Whoa. And again, when you're cutting this off, you're just cutting, you're pushing that blade barely into the paper because you don't want to cut through the paper, you're just trying to cut through that washi, which is really thin. Because this is cheap washi, you can see that there, it kind of pulled some of that glitter off. So I'm just going to cut that off of my roll and trash it. Okay. Once you get in the groove of this, it actually goes by really quickly. Okay, so maybe you can see how that's a much straighter line there on that one. I don't really have any of that pencil line showing, and that's because, like I said, I cut it piece by piece. Now, at this time, I really kind of will pull up this card. That way I can start cutting some of this tape off the back, because if I wait till the end, it's hard to, you know, the whole thing gets taped down and it's hard to cut it off. So let's see, I'll zoom you out a little here. So now with two sides done, I like to flip it over, and then you can see the excess washi here. You can either use your scissors or your craft knife to cut that off. I just go ahead and go with the craft knife, and I just cut right along the card, and those cut off pretty easily, and then I just add them to my scrap pile. And then I do the same on the other side. Alright, now we can flip it back over, and we're going to move to this next section. Again, so on this first section I started with the gold pattern, and then I did gold glitter. So my next one in the pattern is going to be the green patterned. So I'm going to go to that one. Okay, and now we're going to start the last section. This one needs to be started with my green glitter washi. And I'm going to follow the same pattern on this one, and I'm going to go ahead and overlap on this side a little bit like I've been, because we're still going to cut it away. That won't change just because it's going to overlap washi. Okay, now that we've got all the sides done, and there's 2 sides taped to my mat again, I'm going to peel those up and turn it over and do the same thing we did before. Alright, here is the finished product here, just with that washi. Look how shiny and shimmery that is. Pretty cool. I really like how that turned out with the green and the gold. Okay, we can get rid of the cutting mat now. And the washi, because now all we're going to do is attach our sentiment and our bow, and of course then we have to attach the whole thing onto our card base. So I need to decide if we want to run the bow around the back of this card front. Let's see. I think that would look pretty cool. Let's try that. Okay, first I'm going to show you what I've got my black Spectrum Noir marker for. I've already done most of this, but I want to show you the end because I really think it makes it stand out more. So here's my sentiment, and I've just done it in white cardstock because I feel like the background is busy enough that I didn't feel like I needed any more color or pattern. So just cut out from a die in white cardstock and stamped in black. Around the edges, you can see on some of these edges, I've kind of got it black too. So I'm just taking my Spectrum Noir marker and just running it along the edges of this cut image to kind of help it stand out a little bit from the background. So I've gone around the whole thing now, and I really feel like that makes it just kind of pop on that crazy colorful background we've got there. Okay, so that's all I'm using that for. On the one that I made before the video, I popped up the sentiment just using some foam squares. So I'm going to do the same on this card because I like that it gives it that dimension. But I'm going to wait until I have put this ribbon where I want it before I add that dimension because I'm going to use this on the back. So I think I'm going to just put the sentiment right in the middle like I have it on the other card, and I'm going to place this ribbon right under it. Maybe even all the way at the kind of at the bottom of the card. So I'm going to start by using my hot glue gun here and just adding a little bit of hot glue to the back of my bow. Okay, and then just stick that down towards the middle. Okay, and then I'm going to pull these little strings here around to the back of the card. I'm going to start with these two. And because I've got hot glue handy, I'm just going to use hot glue for this too. Just going to put a dot back here and stick those little tails into it. Okay. And I'm going to do the same on the other side. I'm going to pull it so that it looks nice on the front. And then kind of flip it over, add some hot glue, and stick it down. Okay. So now I can kind of adjust those a little bit on the front. That's what we've got here on the front. I think that's super cute. Okay. Now before I flip it over and add my sentiment to the front, I'm going to make sure this hot glue is dried. Okay. Looks like it has. Alright. So now I'm going to attach this to my card base so that I can pop up my sentiment. And for that I'm just going to use some ATG. Okay, so we're going to add this, and it's only 1/8 of an inch smaller on every side, so it's a pretty small border. Okay. Then, like I said, we're going to pop up our sentiment with some foam squares. Okay. And I kind of liked it just right there in the middle, so I'm going to stick with that. Alright. Let me zoom you all the way out here. So here's what we've got. That is super cool. I love it. I really like how you can get different looks depending on the colors of the washi that you're using, the patterns that they have. And like I said, feel free to try it with more or fewer colors of washi and see what you get. Alright, thanks for watching, guys. This is Jasmine, again with Jazzy Crafts and Cards. See you next time.